Anything got you fired up today, or should we throw out some questions?
I mean, I'm good.
All right.
I mean, I didn't hear you. My mind was other places.
No football thoughts?
Nope. They got it well in hand.
Well, I guess first of all, Oregon State is kind of under, some new leadership a little bit with Pendleton, Isaiah Martinez as an assistant. What do they kind of bring to the table, or what do you know about the lineup that they face?
I think any time that you have a change, there's going to be enthusiasm. There's definitely characteristics of that team in a short period of time, and we just got to be ready to go. You can look at rankings, you can look at the lopsided maybe difference between the two teams, but don't get caught up in that. You got to go out and wrestle those matches. And if I had to keep talking here and I was going to do like a opening ceremony, opening statement, I would talk about Cassiope, quick turnaround. And actually, it's not that quick. It's 8 days, but it's quick. It's, internationally when you wrestle, something like that happens, you have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait months to get back in it. End of the year, something like that happens, you have to wait months to get back in it. We talked about it last week. We talked about the timing. It's November. And the good thing is you're putting it past you, meaning Tony Cassiope's putting it past him. So that's where I'm at with the heavyweight match. And they got a decent guy there with transfer from Ohio State.
You talked Friday about how it was going to suck for him in the short term. What have you seen from him kind of moving forward?
I think that, anytime something like that happens to you, you're, especially the guys that make up our team, you're serious about your performance. You're serious about how you get better. The mistake you made, it was one mistake, and you work hard on it. I don't know that you change and go into deep despair and just change everything. I think what you do is get back to the basics. And there's a lot of things that good wrestlers can do to prepare a guy for a fall. And I think of my coach, Dan Gable, and I watched a video on him, and he would literally run a guy around the mat with a bar arm and a half and just run him all over the mat. And the guy that he's wrestling just basically gave up, but he didn't just run out there and throw a bar and a half on him and pin him. Gable's pins were grinding, kind of like a carpet bombing type match where you're beating guys up or so physical or so tenacious that after, back then it was 2-3-3, after 8 minutes, the guy just, sometimes, it's a matter of will. And I think Cassiope can do that. We've had a couple of guys here that had to learn to do that. And not too long ago. So I'm seeing a little bit more business-like, maybe not as many smiles and stuff, but, certainly he's not, like I said, in despair. And he just walked in here. We got Nelson Brands and Cassiope back there now, and you're going to hear from them. So let him tell you about it, but all good.
Coach, a good performance out of Kobe Friday. What do you expect to see from him?
The other thing about Cassiope is there were certain signs where that guy was explosive or athletic before, those things happened. And so that lesson just keeps going down the road. But anyway, to your questions, Seabreck, scoring points, practices are solid. Practice doesn't mean everything, but we love guys that practice hard. He's been solid, and you have a potential there if things continue for a crowd favorite. And we just love guys that are really, really excited and hungry for the mat and having a blast out there. And He sure looks like he's having a blast. You know, as we get into this season, the competition gets stiffer. You're scouted, which really doesn't make any bit of difference at all. You know, your philosophy is you send your own scouting report to your opponent and say, you know, try to stop it. But as coaches and teams scout him, it'll be interesting to see, can you continue this? And that's what I want to see. Can you continue this at a high level? He's on track, though, and we love him.
I'm just looking at your lineup. It says Kemmer or Warner, or are those guys possibilities this week?
Kemmer right now has the nod. Glazier, Warner, dead even. I don't know what other ors there are in there. 84, we don't know. 50-50. Assad, Wilson. We'll see.
Okay. Do you view this like when you've got a couple guys that are maybe just banged up or whatever, like as a long season or a short season? Do you play like the long game with some, or is it case by case?
This has been a unique year when you're talking about those cases. And where I'm at is you got to take care of yourself and your development as you are in these injury scenarios. And you're going to have to make a lot of calls. And, you know, it just seems like these guys are just, they want to get on the mat. And so, you know, we got guys that are making the call to get on the mat. And it's almost like you got to pull back on the reins a little bit, be really, really smart. So which way are we going? I treat it like it's a long season, and let's be patient. But, you know, let's not be too patient. We have a great medical staff that analyzes this thing on a daily basis, in constant contact with our coaching staff. And at the end of the day, it comes down to medical decision, coaching decision, and the athlete.
How much this season is, you know, about building depth too, in case something happens in February or whatever?
We want our best lineup out every time. This is an ultra competitive deal that we're running here. I mean, people want our you know, they want notches on their whatever. You can't talk about the things that I'm thinking of, and like firearms and stuff, but they want notches on their stick. They want to do damage to this team, and we put our best team out there every time. We don't hesitate to put our best team out there so we can create depth. And then you talk about, you know, some of the depth, and I said this last week, who's to say that wasn't our best lineup? I love it that we have several options at 10 weight classes. We have more than 10 options at those 10 weight classes, and that's what you want. That's what you want.
Feel Nelson's at his best at 174, or what do you see from him?
I think that he is a unique guy when it comes to power. I think any time that you're wrestling at a weight class that's heavier than where you are naturally a better fit, that's a disadvantage. He has handled everything that we've thrown at him, if you want to call it that, and he has not taken a back seat to anybody or any competition, whether it's in our wrestling room or whether it's on the mat against opposing teams. And he's been that way ever since I've known him. And I've known him ever since he came home from the hospital when he was a little infant. So we love what we got there.
This is probably a dumb question. Maybe sorry, I haven't been to all your press conferences, but like Spencer Lee's timetable to return, what is
Spencer Lee is Spencer Lee, and he has a grand total of 0 ACLs. And we are patient. We are very patient.
Is he patient?
Yeah, I mean, he's a professional. He's Spencer Lee. So the funny thing about wrestling is when you're not talking about like team dynamics like any other sport. There's just no other sport that has team dynamics like you define wrestling team dynamics, and meaning you got to have a guy has no ACLs on the basketball court. He's not going to do you much good. In the football field, he's not going to do you much good maybe. And in wrestling, if you can cope with that stuff, then that doesn't upset the team dynamic for other weight classes. It comes down to Spencer Lee and what he's able to do. And so this is a medical call. This is a coaching call. This is a Spencer Lee call. And Spencer Lee's family. He has a family that's very involved, and we also need to consider that. But I'm going to tell you something. Spencer Lee is also his own man, and he has grown a lot since he's been here. So he's as ready as our fans are to get on the mat. I'll say that. How's that? And that saying something about his readiness.
He wouldn't make a choice to come out. I mean, you have 14 sellout crowds basically all season.
Yeah, I don't think you make decisions based on that. You make the best decision for the individual, and you consult everybody that has a stake in that decision. And that's really as simple as it is. It's not like we have a date that we're pointing to and we're, holding our cards tight to our chest. This is something that is day to day. And, you're talking about a guy who is a pretty good wrestler. And so, he doesn't need to be on the mat taxing himself every day. There's, a different training regimen maybe for him than there is for, Drake Ayala. Those are guys at the same weight right now. Drake Ayala is a true freshman. Spencer Lee's a fifth-year senior that's wrestled 4 consecutive years in COVID relief year now. So that's where we're at with him. He's having fun. He's driven. He still has the same ingredients that make him great. And I don't think it's risky. Medical team says it's not risky, and it's just a matter of that comfort being at a high level where we make that call.
Anything else?
Thank you very much.